welcome to the Irresistible Women's Summit. I am Deanna Cobden, your host and love coach, and we are here to give you a fresh perspective on love, dating, and men, where to find that man, how to date with confidence while you value and honor yourself, and create amazing, authentic relationships. And today, I'm really excited because we have a speaker that has really been a pioneer in the love and dating industry, the gorgeous Julie Ferman. She's been a professional matchmaker for over 25 years. She's also a dating coach, a media personality, a speaker, a singles events producer, and a consultant to the matchmaking and dating industry itself. She was also awarded Best Matchmaker from the iDate Awards in 2010, 11, 12, and 13. And she's been featured in numerous media, including Dr. Phil, The Today Show, Good Morning America, NBC, The Wall Street Journal, The New York Times, Women's World, LA Times, that's just a few. Welcome, Julie. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, you're welcome. And thank you for having me, especially because this is oriented around women, my favorite topic.
Yeah. So, and yeah, it's really kind of cool that you've seen like the progression, like you were there at the beginning and now here we are, like it's a totally different world, right? Can you tell us a little bit about like what inspired you to become a matchmaker and get into the love business?
You know, like so many other entrepreneurs, once I finally solved the problem for myself, it felt like a natural payback to help other people. So the biggest challenge in my life was that I just couldn't find the right guy. And I didn't know what I didn't know. And I suspected that I was doing something wrong. I didn't know what. So I hired myself a dating coach before we even had such things as dating coaches. He was a guy in Boston that I loved a lot and I loved his marriage. And I said, listen, you know, why don't you help me figure this thing out? Because clearly I'm dating the wrong guys. And he said, Julie, you need a marketing plan, a romance marketing plan. And to this day, I still use that term. And so he helped me not only look inside to see what it was that I was doing to set myself up for failure without knowing it. And then the second thing we did was we developed a strategic plan that would cause me to be more likely than not to meet more of the right kinds of men. And that's where I went into a dating service. And the short version of my story is that the guy who sold me that membership for $1,450 is sitting right upstairs. That's Mr. Ferman. 26 years we've been married. So, you know, it kind of calls to the question, well, how did that happen? You know, if he took your money, was he supposed to be going out with you? And technically, no, he wasn't. But I asked him out. And I said, this was after I started dating and having fun. And I was really enjoying the process of having some control over who I could pick and who would I say yes to. And it was like instant inventory, kind of like online dating, but it was way back in the video dating era.
Yeah.
And then I flirted with him one day and I said, hey, you know, I looked in the G book under Gil and I didn't see you. What's the story with you, pal?
Yeah.
I'm a big advocate for flirting and batting the eyes.
Flirty ways. So, but it's good because you're letting him know like you're interested, but you're throwing it out there, but you're letting him pick up that invitation, right?
Yes, ma'am. It's like if you say to a guy, you know, if you ask me out, I might just say yes. It's a playful way. And women often misunderstand, like a lot of us who have a lot of personality and we're sort of like A-type, hard-driving personalities. It's a mistake for us to assume that the guy we're supposed to be with is going to also be full of energy, very aggressive and assertive, probably a better fit for a still waters run deep kind of guy.
Yeah.
Which means we're going to have to flirt with him because he's not the hey baby, how you doing kind of guy.
Yeah. Okay. So what happened? He was like, oh, she's interested.
He said, well, I'm not really supposed to date my members. And I said, oh, damn, another great guy I can't date. Because that's the way it feels when you're single. It feels like all the great guys are married or they're gay or they're broke or they're drug addicts. It seems that way. But the truth is the really good guys are kind of hiding out. They're not jumping on every girl who walks by. It's not their style.
Yeah.
So then I said, well, what would you do if one of your members asked you out? And he said, well, if she was cute, I'd probably go. I said, come on, let's go have a beer. And literally 5 weeks later, we were engaged. And 5 months after that, we were married. And 2 months later, we got pregnant. And this was a guy who was 44, never married. The guy everybody says, uh-oh, red flag. Yeah. No, he just didn't have 2 divorces behind him and 3 children from other women.
Yeah. I think that's actually, and I think that's a really good thing to point out, because I mean, yes, some people have baggage. Everybody has baggage, but there are some guys that are 44 that they've just really been building their careers, and men tend to really be hyper focused on that. And then when they feel they're ready, they'll look around, right? So I think that you have to get to know the guy and not just write him off, right?
That's exactly right. And the 2 things that I cannot control, and no one can control them, is chemistry, when 2 people sort of light on each other. But then the other thing is timing. And you mentioned it, it's absolutely right. Men are single focused, and we women, we want to be with a man who's got his career underneath him. He's stable, he's confident, he's ready to take on the burden of the wife and the children and whatever it is.
Yeah.
And we have to catch him when he's ready. So one of the mistakes that women do, and I see it every day in my life, and it breaks my heart, is they burn their bridges. Like they reach out to a guy online, or they talk to a guy at a meetup group and he doesn't respond right away. It could be he's just dating somebody else. It could be his mother just had a stroke. It could be he's licking his wounds from his last relationship, or he just lost his job and he's getting another one. He's not going to respond at that moment in time. Yeah. He's going to wait till he feels strong and confident. And those guys, once they get to that place, they stay single for about half a second. So you have to keep your bridges open and stay friendly and warm with everybody. Even if he's not your type, he's not your guy, he might have a brother or a cousin or a next door neighbor, if you don't burn the bridge.
Yeah, okay, well, that's interesting. I do agree with you, but at the same time, these days, there can be this like breadcrumbing problem where the guy disappears, then he's just like sends you a random hi like a week later, and then all you're getting is these highs. So how do you know if this guy is worth keeping around and worth just keeping an eye on over a guy that's just like wasting your time?
Yes. I like it if you have a big, juicy black book, and I mean a big one.
Okay.
And I like it if women throw parties, throw gatherings, and the guys who've been breadcrumbing you, I love that term, invite them, see who shows up. And when you have an opportunity to have an open-hearted conversation, let him know what your primary dating purpose is and see if you can determine his. Because I'm thinking of a guy right now, his name is David, and he seems like a breadcrumbing kind of guy. He'll sort of drop little hints, and he'll do that until there's somebody that he's really interested in and the timing is right. He's got a big job, and when he's focused in his career life and he's getting ready to do a trip that's a 6-week-long trip, I know he is not going to start a new relationship at that moment in time. So he might breadcrumb somebody then. Yeah. And then when he gets back and timing is right, he will go back. And if she's closed him out, she's the one who's losing out. So I say, entertain your suitors, ladies. Entertain them. Be nice. Be authentic. The thing to do is always let the men know what you're in this for.
Yeah, I think that's really good. Come from a place of you. I do think dating multiple people at the same time kind of helps with that a little bit, because you're not hyper focused on this other person and what they're doing.
As long as you keep your pants on while you're dating these various guys, because I'm sure everybody in your community knows what oxytocin is, right?
Yeah. Or maybe, I don't know. Why don't you explain it?
Oxytocin is what we call the bonding hormone, and it's released in both men and women, especially during sex, but also even like a 20-minute hug. You can feel it, these love juices flowing through your body. Kissing, more. Once you go south of the border and you've forgotten where you put your pants, then, oh my goodness gracious, there's going to be, a guy has a thimbleful of oxytocin, the bonding hormone. We have like a gallon of it in comparison. And it's designed biologically for a reason, to bond us to the person that we just had this incredible intimate moment with. I mean, we might end up getting pregnant, right? It'd be a good idea to know the guy's name, where he lives.
Yeah.
But the problem is when we, in this modern day era, when we think it's, casual and just fun, and then 3 days later the guy hasn't called and we want to, hit him over the head with a hammer. But we're the ones who allowed it to happen. So what I really encourage women to do in today's world is to extend courtship. Mm-hmm. And we can do that by being warm, affectionate. Don't be a cold fish just because you don't want to jump into bed, but let him know that you love being close, you love intimacy, you're very expressive, very affectionate, and you keep your pants on till you got yourself a boyfriend. Believe me, these guys will wait if they know it's worth it. The other way we can extend courtship is to not insist that he always pays for everything. I got a little bit of a pet peeve about this. I don't think it's right that in today's modern day era, we want to earn the same amount as men, but we want him to pay all the bills. We want him to, pay the mortgage and pay for dinner and buy us presents and all that.
Yeah.
And how we can extend courtship is to be generous ourselves. Bring dinner, have him over, bring a picnic, bring him a sweet little gift so that it's not completely one-sided.
Yeah, I think it's important to make a distinguishment of, it's not like tit for tat or even, like it's just give him a gesture of that.
A sincere gesture.
Yeah, it should be a sincere gesture of appreciation, and let him know, like, hey, I really appreciated like the dinner, and can I grab the movie tickets or whatever it's going to be, because you really like that. I don't think you have to pay for everything, just like split even. I don't
like the whole split thing, but I really don't. Sometimes what'll happen is a woman knows she's supposed to do that, so she'll say, oh well, can I get the tip, or can I get ice cream afterwards? And then if he lets her, then she chastises him and won't call him back, or won't, because he let her. No, don't offer if you don't mean it. And I think there's something really wrong if the two people are 60 days into a new relationship and she hasn't whipped out her wallet for anything. To me, I've just seen a lot of men, even at date 5, if she hasn't offered anything, I have seen one man after another bail and say, I don't want another princess on my hands. So don't be the woman that he thinks might be a princess. Your spirit of generosity needs to show through.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And just always know, like, everybody wants to be appreciated, right?
Men need it. Men need respect and appreciation, which is why women are having such a hard time right now, because we don't shut up when we should. He's talking, we interrupt him. He voices his opinion in front of his friends, we challenge him in front of his friends. And, it's like, if we want guys with balls, if we want guys with big shoulders, we have to fan the flame. They're delicate creatures, and their egos are very fragile. So women's lib has hurt us in the way that we vocalize and put down and castrate and chastise our men. It's not sexy. We got to stop doing that.
Yeah, I think there's just really been an imbalance. I think, first of all, most people, I don't think the world even really knew great communication between the sexes. It was always either one dominant person or the other. And now we're kind of coming into balance. Like, there's so many coaches coming up and people just like really trying to understand how to communicate better. And I do think like we're going through this like topsy-turvy time in our world with like online dating and people wanting to connect and not connecting. But I do think it's coming into more balance, and like there's going to be more lasting relationships because of it.
I like that you talk about balance, because we are responsible. Like, women are the ones driving relationships, and it's not right and it's not fair for us to assume that men have the same strengths as we do and the same abilities. It's meant to be a balance, and we're meant to complement each other. And with women being as strong as they are, it's not always the right fit that the right guy is going to be bigger and stronger in every way. We've never seen a situation in the history of humanity where so many women have so much money. Yeah. And however they got their money, whether we made it ourselves, whether daddy gave us some, or grandpa, or whether we divorced favorably in the financial arena, it's not if everybody's looking for the richest guy in the room, the tallest, best looking man in the room, there aren't enough of those guys to go around. And the truth is, those are not the best catches for a lifelong relationship. They get spoiled because all the girls think they're supposed to be with the Clooney type. So where you're likely to find your sweet spot is kind of on the fringes of your comfort zone. If you've always eliminated any men who were less than 5'10", well, include the 5'9". If you've never dated a guy who didn't have a full head of hair, why not give that a chance? Guy with a beard, so what? We have razors. I don't like to see women dismissing suitors and candidates, especially if they meet her top 3 or top 5 critical criteria. And that's what's super important for every woman and every man to know is what's a deal breaker. Don't make it more than 5.
Yeah.
It's just a preference.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's really good, a good distinguishment. Like you really have to be open, and love doesn't always show up how you think it's going to show up, or it would have shown up by now, right?
Exactly. I love the way you think because you're right on. I love my dating coaching clients because I have an opportunity to work with them for an hour or for a series of sessions, and we really get a chance to see how are you doing dating right now? Because clearly it hasn't been working, and where can we stretch and where should we stretch? It's usually little bitty tweaks that all of a sudden create the aha moments.
Yeah. So, okay. So how many times, like, okay, so the women that come to you, how many times do you usually recommend they go out with that match?
Well,
go to the first date and they're like, he's only okay. I don't know.
Yeah. If she meets her top 5 critical criteria and he's hot for her to have another date, I'm going to encourage her to have that date because I want to see what happens. One of the traps that women fall into, and men too, is that if it doesn't feel like magic on the first date, if this person doesn't fit their pictures, they'll dismiss it and they'll go on and they'll move on. And then it's this treadmill. And 3 years later, they're still single, going on more first dates, and that's it. So I encourage you, if you're in that place, give the guy, if he's knocking on your door and he meets your top 5, even your top 3 critical criteria, give him that second date and see what happens. It takes 3 times for 2 people to be together before that bonding thing begins to happen. Yeah. And on the first date, you're never really with the other person. You're with your idea of who you think that person is, and you're comparing who shows up with who you thought he might be, and it's all distorted, and he's doing the same thing. And we're nervous, and we can't tell if we're attracted, and we don't know if he's a good kisser yet or any of that. Yeah. So hang in there. And one more date, give it 2 dates. Not sure, give it that 3rd date. And if it hasn't developed by that time, like romance and physical attraction, romantic attraction for women, it can build over time much more than it does for men. Yeah. Have you talked about that on your series yet? Attraction?
Maybe. I can't remember. Go ahead and...
I'll give you the short version of it. I call it the attraction conundrum. I've taught many thousands of people over the years. And whenever I have a group of people in the room, whether it's 10 or 200, I will always ask everybody to do the test with me. And I'll say, okay, to make them hide their eyes so nobody's paying attention to what anybody else says. And I ask the question, how many of you have met somebody, you weren't particularly attracted, you got to know him, and then over time, you actually found this person to be kind of adorable, actually dateable, kind of cute. Well, 85% of women will raise their hand. Take a wild guess what percentage of men will raise their hand?
Probably pretty low.
Yeah, it's like 5%. Yeah. So it's the biggest distinction between men and women and how we should be dating. The problem is that women in today's world are dating like guys. And these apps on these stupid phones, swiping, all this, who were they built by? They were built by men. And men are visual. So what we really need to embrace, I don't fight this. I've been doing this long enough to know that it doesn't make sense to fight nature. Yeah. What we should be doing as women is paying attention to the men who are already hot for us because we got a shot with that guy. Yeah. And what women are doing is they're walking into a room or they're walking into Match.com and they're going, oh, he's cute. Nope. Oh, he's cute. Well, guess what? All the women picked that same guy.
Absolutely.
Which means that guy's head gets really big and he thinks he's all that and then some, and then he doesn't have to commit to anybody because all the girls keep falling in his lap, and 2 years later he's still single and he's gone to bed with 20 different women or 40.
Yeah.
And you wonder why you didn't get picked. It's because you weren't paying attention to the men you actually should be paying attention to.
Yeah. I think that, yeah, wow, you said so many things there. I do. So one thing about, going after that top kind of 5% of the people in Match, like I can open up a client's, profile to go over it, and everybody's messaging the same people and getting the same messages because they're trying to go for that. And those people, they just are kind of the king of the hill, and they're not really committing to anybody, right? So you have to expand your search, just like we were talking about you. It's on the fringe. Where can you stretch? And I think stretch is a good idea. It's not going to be so far out of your comfort zone. Like maybe he's 5'9" instead of 5'10". He's not going to be 5'6". So take that in mind. I learned something interesting the other day, which is, we all know, like especially in our field, like men are visual. But they actually have like 25% more neurons in their eyes from like hunting days and stuff, right? So when they see us, they're really like getting an incredible amount of information compared to us.
Wow.
We have that just diffused awareness where we're taking in information from everywhere that they're not getting. So it is really incredible how we're processing the world differently. And I think for women, like, tell me what your opinion is, but I feel like, we're going on these dates. We can be a little bit like, okay, who is this person? And it takes us a while to relax and let that guy even, like, how do we feel around him? Is he cherishing us? Is he adoring us? Like, how is he making us feel? Like if you don't go on that third date, you don't give him a chance to even show you. He can be like your knight in shining armor. You just haven't given him that chance.
That's exactly right. I really encourage people to look for the surprises. Since 1990, my husband and I have seen 1,183 marriages so far.
Incredible.
And it's so fun because I have to tell you that at least half of those marriages, huge surprise to one of them or the other, often to both, very often to me.
Yeah.
Very often I'm like, oh my God, this is the one that's stuck. And that's why I don't do just one introduction with each person.
Yeah.
And with women, the way we do it is a little different. I like to make sure that I've got the guy already as a yes. He's already attracted. He's already interested. He's available. I've learned the hard way not to tease a woman with a man who may or may not be available or who may or may not be interested, because we are not used to being the pursuers and we don't handle rejection very well.
Yeah.
So I take the hits for my clients and I only share a man who's already ready to go, hot to trot, and she's very wise to say yes to his invitation.
Yeah, I like that idea. Okay, so what do you think, what do you see, what's a common negative dating pattern that you have to break with women? Like, what are you seeing?
One thing that occurs to me, like you mentioned how men are single focused. You studied with Alison Armstrong, I can tell.
I studied her work, not with her, but her work. Her work just blew my mind when I found out about it, because
we wouldn't be married, my husband and I, if it weren't for Alison Armstrong.
Pardon me?
My husband and I wouldn't be married if it weren't for Alison Armstrong.
Really? Yeah. Seriously. Like, I wish I knew that when I was married. I might not be divorced, or I maybe would have picked a better person, or you know what I mean? But it's incredible. Her work is incredible. Yeah. So
it is. And so one of the things that I've learned as a distinction with women is that we tend to be discerning, which is a nice way of saying critical, and a better way to be, because we're trying to protect our heart. We don't want to fall for the wrong guy. We don't want to make a mistake. We don't want to invest our emotional energy in a tunnel with no cheese, or in some. So
that's funny.
We're looking critically in order to save ourselves from a disaster. But he can feel it. He can feel it when we're picking him apart, when we're looking at him like, oh, he chose the wrong fork to use for his salad. It's kind of like mommy's watching, and they feel that critical eye. Yeah. It's not sexy. What's better to be is curious. gee, I wonder why he picked up that fork instead of the other one. Maybe he was nervous. Maybe nobody ever told him. Are you going to veto a guy because he picked up the wrong fork at the restaurant? Are you going to veto the guy because he wore shoes you didn't like? Are you going to veto the guy because he didn't think to open your door for him? Guys want to know how to make us happy. They live for it. We are like the source of their life force in many ways. We have to help him know what it is that makes us happy, and we're all a little different. So rather than just be critical of him for not already knowing that he should use the right fork or open up your car door, my friend Leslie did it this way. She loves it when a guy opens up her car door for her.
Yeah.
In 26 years, I can't think of a time when Gil Ferman ever did that for me. It's not what he naturally does. Yeah. I'm usually out the door before he'd have a chance anyway, but she likes it. So she was trying to figure out how can she get her guy to open her car door for her. So one day she just sat there. She didn't get out. She was in the restaurant wondering, where's this girl? He looks out and there she is sitting there with this big smile on her face, and she's just sitting there, and he comes and he opens the door and she says, I just love it when you open my door for me. And they cracked up. And now he opens up the door for her quite a lot.
That's awesome. That's such a cute story. I honestly believe that we need to inspire men how to treat us, but we were never given the tools or information.
You're giving it to them right now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you are too. Like that's what I really hope this summit does, is like people are getting like an idea of like, okay, I can actually have really good relationships. I just need to like understand that person is different than me, and I need to communicate with them differently. It's not a magical fairy tale where you go into a coma and you wake up and somebody knows exactly everything that's going to make you happy your whole life.
Well, and then the other thing is that there's this misguided assumption that once they find the right guy, it's all going to be better. It's going to be smooth sailing, and every night there's going to be sunsets and rainbows. And the truth of it is relationships are highly inconvenient. Yeah. And once you've got yourself that great guy, don't think it's over. It's a whole new ball game of, oh my gosh, I can't believe I have to cook dinner differently than how about that I have to cook dinner at all? There's all these little compromises that we're going to make once we find somebody and that's where the love comes from.
Yeah.
The love that's existing for people. My cousins are getting ready to celebrate their 55th wedding anniversary. And I love asking them about their marriage, because it's through their trials and tribulations, through the times when they wanted to pull their hair out over each other and didn't, and learned how to turn toward each other in the face of conflict. That's where the strength of a relationship lives. And I want you to practice that on date number 1, date number 2, date number 3, because it's not going to get easier once you're in a relationship. It'll just be different.
Yeah. Wow. I think, you said so many great things there. I think even shows like The Bachelor, they just kind of show all these, like, they're going to the islands and there's fireworks and like Tim McGraw singing or whatever it is, but there's no end, right? It's like, okay, well, let's see you guys going to IKEA and then putting some furniture together, because that's like where
put them in a small old jalopy and have them cross the country together and put a camera on that action.
Yeah. And then the other thing I do think that we have to realize it's a practice, and like that communication is forever. Like anybody can be with you during those like amazing, easy times, but when there's challenges, how are you going to support each other? And that's really through communication, right?
Yes, absolutely. And it's very important for each person to know what their love languages are. Gary Chapman's book, The 5 Love Languages, spells it all out. And you can even go online and get a little cheat sheet. There are 5 different ways that people show their love. Mr. Ferman is not a gift giver. He's not a compliment giver. He doesn't tell me I look beautiful. That would be totally inauthentic for him. But I broke my foot a couple years ago, and for 2 months, I didn't open up the refrigerator. That guy is an acts of service guy. And when I need help or I need somebody to pick me up when my car just got a flat tire, he is Johnny on the spot there for me. So I'm learning to appreciate his way of communicating and generosity toward me, instead of my fairy tale, which is flowers every week. If I really want flowers, I'll either grow them myself in my backyard, or I'll pick up a little thing of tulips for $5 at the grocery store, and makes me happy all week.
Yeah, I do think, yeah, the 5 love languages have come up in a couple of different times. And I think it's so important. Like, you can never stress enough, like, to know what makes you happy, but also like how to make your partner happy and how to let them know what's going to make you happy as well, right? But
Yes.
something I wish, like, all this stuff should be taught in schools, or some kind of course, like in, life skills course, right? Because the relationships are just kind of supposed to happen.
Yeah.
It does take some skill and some mindset.
Yes, and especially to help young people understand the distinctions between men and women. Like you mentioned that men have, I didn't know that, 20% more neurons in their eyes for things like shooting spears and all of that. And we have what we call scan vision. So if we need to find something in a hurry in a really messy, dirty, packed pantry, don't send a guy.
Yeah.
Send a woman. If you need something done in the grocery store in a hurry, send a woman, because we can do that. It's natural for us. But it's unnatural for us to expect a man to be able to do the same. We like to think it's all even and it's all fair. The uncomfortable reality is that the genders, we're not equal in every way. And it's not fair that a guy can typically lift more than we can, that we can maybe be a little bit more creative in the kitchen or whatever our strengths might be. We can speak a lot faster and we can put a lot more into a sentence than man can. It's just the way we're made.
Yeah.
But to work with it instead of against it.
Yeah, this has been an amazing conversation. Thank you so much for being our guest. And I know that you have a gift for everyone watching. Can you share about that?
Yes, I just recorded it and I'm so excited. The romance marketing plan that we had talked about earlier, I created an audio recording that walks you through it. So, and it's free, it's a bonus here. So all people need to do in order to get it is just register with us. It's julieferman.com, and that's F like Frank, ERMAN, julieferman.com, and just register with us. And as part of our welcome to you, we will send you the romance marketing plan audio tutorials so that you can build your own romance marketing plan. All kinds of tips and strategies in there for how to be your own matchmaker, what to do at the coffee shop, what to do at the car wash, how to throw your own parties, how to get registered with local matchmakers. Just so people know, I do the same thing a lot of the matchmakers do. I think I was the first to do it, and the idea caught on. Anybody can be registered with me. It's free and it's private. And we've built this incredible network of matchmakers all over the world. And not a day goes by that I don't get an email or a phone call from one of my matchmaking colleagues around the world saying, hey, Julie, I have a great guy in San Francisco. Do you have a wonderful woman for him? Or vice versa.
Yeah.
And the first thing I do is jump right into my database. And if I have somebody incredible, I will offer that introduction up. It's kind of a mutual back scratch that we all do with each other. Sometimes we pay for the introduction, sometimes we don't. It just depends on each person's business plan. But we can't match you if we can't find you.
Yeah.
And that means get registered with me. And as a bonus for you for being part of this summit, we will send you your own romance marketing plan tutorial by email.
That sounds incredible. So you guys, there's going to be a link under the video. There's going to be a link in the email that you got sent with the link to the video. So you can find it in a couple of places. Go there, download the marketing plan. Honestly, we all need a marketing plan these days, especially with like online dating. We need to know like all the steps. So please do that. And if anything stood out for you today in this interview, please hit reply, send me a message, let me know what you liked, if you had a moment that really stood out. We really want to hear from you. And in your inbox tomorrow is going to be a link to the next 2 interviews. And we will see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Julie. Bye.
You're great at this, Deanna.